So for me, it's different because most guys see a picture or they hear a car drive by their house and all of a sudden it's a hot rod and they're like, I want a hot rod. For me, I don't know what it's like to not have a hot rod because my entire life I've had this car. You know, everything about life is perspective, and my perspective on everything is through this car, through this windshield, is why I do everything I do. You ready? My dad started this shop, this building in like the mid 80s. So it was just a body shop and I was working on fender benders, started building hot rods in the corner and another part of the building in the garage. Probably too small and the building's kind of beat up. You know, it is what it is, but it's full circle. You know, it's gone from working in the corner and by a bunch of Bondo dust trying to keep everything clean to like, now we build hot rods and we've built a lot of cars out of here. People ask me, why are you here? Why did you leave Austin? And I'm like, well, this is where I belong. So this is where we are. I don't know, this is the shop. Hey, you know what? This is the shop. This is our frame table. We have several different jigs for several different frames. We can do 32 frames, Model A frames, 34 frames. This is a Model A coupe we're building. We just did the perimeter chassis. We're gonna do, it's gonna be a cool, can I say kick-ass?
You can say whatever you want.
This car is gonna be kick-ass. It's for a very good customer. This is my dad's Roadster, which is pretty awesome. Our family got together and I found this old hot rod project and it was his 60th birthday. So we gave this to him for his 60th birthday, helped him get it on the road, drove it around, wore out the engine. So we just put a different engine in and now he's driving it. And now he's like 78 or something, or 77. So he's had it a long time. This one is a Model A coupe for some guys in New Jersey. And what do you do when you're in New Jersey? You race on the beach. It's gonna be a cool race car. It has a full race flathead. It's gonna have 4 Strombergs. It's got a crazy stance. This car is really kick-ass. Just like that, that's what we do. I guess there's a lot of kick-ass around here. I look at brackets on this car and they were made by my grandfather in the 50s at Alice Chalmers. He would take things at lunch and he'd have some problem him and my uncle or my dad were trying to solve, and he'd solve it at lunch and he'd use the big machines at Alice Chalmers. And so when I got more and more and more into cars and building, it was only natural that we tried to figure out how to do it right and safe. So for me, traditional hot rodding, it's the only hot rodding I know because it's what I grew up with. This car, I was always trying to find things that like reminded me of the Roadster. So then fast forward another 10, 15 years, there's a group of kids my age that were into 50s stuff and old furniture and records and old cars. It was this spark of traditional hot rods and it all related to this car and it felt right to me. That's how I started. I guess it's just not a start, it just is. This one's a 34 Ford 3-window coupe with a blown caddy engine in it. This is a 31 Roadster that we actually anti-sectioned, which means we added 4 inches to the bottom. So this car's channeled, but it has better proportions, more like a 32, and it has more room than a stock Model A. So this is gonna be a pretty special car, tons of handmade stuff on it. Over here, we've got our Baileigh shrinker stretcher. It works awesome. It really does work awesome. A lot of these kind of budget-minded tools I'm not the biggest fan of, but you get a lot of bang for the buck for this thing. So it works really great. We wish we had another one so you could do the back and forth like everyone else says, but we have this one. This is a cool old punch shear that I bought at an auction. It works great. We use it to like, when we do like rosette welds on floor pans or whatever, we punch holes with it. It works good. This bandsaw we use more than anything else. It's amazing. It's an old Wilton, love it. This is our Baileigh bead roller. And again, lots of bang for the buck with this one. We do all sorts of floor pans. We've made patch panels. We get creative with it and like make crazy curves, and we push it harder than we should, and it always takes it. This is our old Bridgeport, and it's kind of a crazy one because it has this removable head I think you could mount multiple heads on it or something. I don't really know, but it works pretty good. We have an old Rockford lathe. This is my favorite piece of Baileigh tools that we have. This is a tubing bender and we use it all the time. We've done some roll cage stuff with it. Mostly we use it in chassis. We build K-members and transmission mounts and that kind of stuff for it. But this is a great machine, and this isn't even, like, they have ones way better than this, but this one works better than any one I've ever had. So it's awesome. We're growing up with the internet, with these old hot rods. What do you need to do to build hot rods? I never once, when I was a little kid, thought I want to be a fabricator. I still don't. I just wanted a hot rod. So what we needed to do to build hot rods is fabricate, you know. Now we've all grown up. A lot of my friends are some of the best shops, the best fabricators in the world, you know. And here am I, you know, I don't know where I stand in all of it. I'm just a hot rodder, that's all I am. Everything I do, I just wanted to push to that edge where it feels like it might fall apart. And I don't want to lose that. Now that I build really, you know, high-end cars, I'm passionate about every detail. You know, I want everything to look perfect, but I still want it to have that punk rock spirit, you know, where it's like, it's not your mom's car. And that's what I'm after. And not that most fabricator guys are building their mom's car. That's not it either. But, but this empty space right here that's lit up, this is the future spot for one of those kick-ass hammers that they sell. That's where it would fit right there, so perfect. Yeah. That's where we're gonna have it. Yeah, MH19. But you know, if we need an MH20, that would work too. This is our magnetic brake. It works really good. It took a little while to like get the full use out of it as far as what it can do, but we make like hat channels, tons of stuff with this. So we use this a lot. Literally anything that's magnetic will stick on it, and whatever shape it is, you can bend over it. So you can get creative with it. You can put tubing on it. It's kind of awesome. I have this Baileigh planishing hammer, and this thing is good if you really don't have a lot of other choices, and it's good that they offer it. It got us through, but what I really love, this is my favorite. This is an old Cornwell planisher, and like when we chop tops and stuff, this is the ticket. So I have this, and I use this all the time. This is another, it's a Baileigh belt sander, and we have actually a bunch of other ones that we just use this one all the time. It's pretty cool because you can adjust the radius, so you have different radiuses, and it works good. While social media has kind of streamlined things because everyone copies each other, and they've made everything so finite that this is the right way. If you don't do it this way, you're doing it wrong. And that, you know, that's not right, but it has made everything better. And what's so inspiring about it is being able to see what other people have done. So for Baileigh to have such a strong presence and actually showing what people are making and doing with their hands and the machines they have, that's something that we've never had before. It's amazing. It's a true inspiration. So I really feel like it is only going to elevate what we do, what the kids who are just starting, it's going to elevate it to levels we can't even imagine yet. My passion is finding old hot rods and bringing them back to life, putting them in the right hands where they'll be preserved and not changed. And that way we get to see how those guys solved all those problems. Because what's happened is, as we've gotten so good as machines and how younger guys have only grown up with the best equipment, you know, I grew up with not even knowing what a TIG welder was, you know, but younger guys get to start with that, and that they're so much further ahead than I was, which is great. But what can't be lost is there's a lot of ways to do one thing. And the reason old hot rods are so cool, if you look at those magazines, is they're all different. They're not using some part from the catalog or some idea that's been so refined where it just has no excitement anymore. And I get it. I mean, there's a lot of rules you need to follow. If you want to build a safe car that performs the way you want it and it'll be reliable, well, there's right and wrong ways to do it. But it's just so interesting with these old cars that they accomplished those same things. They had no way of communicating with each other. So cars in different regions would have different styles and different things, because all they could do was look at the guy down the street that was building one. And I think there's something special about that. And that's why I love finding these old cars. This is a pickup we built, and it actually, the same guy who we're building the coupe for. It's a 34 pickup. It has a 55 Chrysler Hemi. We have handmade headers that have an arc to them, you know, homemade headlight stands. The box we made entirely. We made the side chrome out of brass and bent it and had it chromed. You know, it's got old Ford wide 5 wheels, but the drums have been chromed. It's a 56 Cadillac color, which is awesome because it's real flip-floppy and pearly, but we used 56 Cadillac material for the interior. It's got vintage Stuart Warner gauges. Between this and then some of the vintage cars we do, you know, it's like the two ends. We put all of our creativity in every detail of this car, but again, like I said earlier, we looked at the big picture first, and then we reeled it all into all kinds of cool details. And the Survivor stuff we do is more maintaining what was done and kind of presenting it in a way that we know will be safe. So we'll change things sometimes to make sure you know, you can drive it on the streets today. But for the most part, we're trying to preserve all the old ideas, you know, because I want someone to look at this someday and say, whoa, how did they think of that? Or why did they do this? Or this is crazy, I've never seen that before. So that's kind of the point. All of these projects would be nothing without all the guys that have worked here and still do work with me. Like, it's not me doing all this, it's me doing some of it. It's me spearheading a lot of the ideas. It's all about family. You know, if it wasn't for my dad, I would have done none of this. You know, if it wasn't for his dad, there's no way he could have done any of it. And now I've got my little guy, Bobby Joe, and I don't know. I mean, he's everything. So, you know, whether he's into skateboarding or this, I mean, this is gonna be his car. What'll be his story? You know, I mean, it's like, you can look back on all the fun we had when we were young and all the crazy stuff we did with this car, but the story's not even, you know, partially written yet. It's only the beginning. I feel like it's only the beginning for me, much less when he gets behind it. Like, what's he gonna do? He'll probably attach a rocket to it or something, you know? I don't know. But if he does, I'm gonna help him any way I can, you know?